Hi, I'm Niftyrat and I'm here today to talk to you about the pathway. That part of your build that often gets neglected, but that really just completes your build and brings it to life. Stick around and find out how to plan, how to build, and more importantly, how to texture a humble pathway. Paths in Minecraft are, well, they're challenging. You've got a big open area, want to build a town or a city, or you just want to build 2 or 3 buildings. So when we get a big open space like this and you start talking about, I want to build a city, I want to build a farm, a few connected buildings, wherever it is your build, the thing you need to give some thought to is, how am I going to connect those buildings together? What do my paths look like? Now, we all know the humble Minecraft path, it looks a bit like this. You go into any village, it'll be a 2 block wide, something like this. Yeah, it's okay, but it's not exactly awe-inspiring. So what we're going to talk about today is, well, how can I make it better? Now, the first thing I would suggest is trying to avoid straight lines. There's nothing wrong with a short straight line. I mean, this one isn't too bad. It's sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 long. But then a right angle off to another one. And it might be that that works in that particular instance in your city. But we might be better off just curving it. Making it a little bit bigger. So 3 wide. Just giving it that hint of a curve. Yeah. If we take this one out here, a couple more out. You make that a path. And now suddenly we've got a path that still goes the right angles, but it just looks a little bit more organic. So if we've got a blank canvas and we want to start laying it out, I always try to go for either 3 or 5 wide path construction. That's the way I personally like to do it. Whether it's 5 wide or 3 wide, depends upon the nature of the build. And what I like to do is plan it out. And I like to keep these vertical lines to no more than 5 or 6 blocks. If we move across a little. Take those out, just so you can see where we're going. So I'd lay out the middle section a bit like that. We carry on. It might be that in this case our path wanders off over in this direction. And you can see we've got a couple of longer stretches to head towards our incline. Once I've got that initial, and I always tend to do the middle block, just breathe. We just complete it, put it in, follow along in the same layout pattern. And we'll do again the third one. Again, just following the same pattern that we just designed. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we have our path design. And you can see this one curves off to the right. But you could easily have it going as well. Off here to our left. You would grow in your city. You might just have done something like that. So all your farm, you've got your barn over on this side, and you've got your farmhouse just there. You might, and you look and you think, and in my case, I think, well, that looks a bit narrow. This looks too square to me. We'll just put it in. Yeah, something like that. It gives us 3 wide paths, and you can look. I like some of these where they go thick and thin, because this is going to give me an option later on to do something with the edge of the path. Maybe put a little bit of a light in, a little bit of wool. But if you want to keep it more uniform, you can say, well, I'm going to take out this. I'm going to make these wider. And that's a personal preference. You could make these a bit wide and say, well, keep the path just so it looks more thicker. But it still looks plain. Now, the best way I found to do this is to texture it up, but to keep the number of textures to 2 or 3. And you could keep the path block in there. And if we were to take some dirt, so take some coarse dirt, and just break some of these blocks, drop some coarse dirt in. You can see how we're starting to get a more organic feel to our path. It looks a bit scuffed up, a bit rough, rather than just plain. Now, one of the things I like to do is I take up the whole path that we've just dug, and then relay it in a different block palette to the surrounding area. There's nothing wrong with putting in that coarse dirt, giving it that path-like texture. Personally, and yes, for many of you who've watched my videos, you know what's coming up next. My fondness for the block introduced in 1.17 is well known. So now you can see I've cleared all that path area out, and what we're going to do is we're going to start putting in a mix-up of textures, because I think it makes for a better path personally. And yes, you guessed it, I am going to actually use deep slate. Yeah, big fan of deep slate, as anybody who's watched any of my videos will know. And we're going to mix it in a kind of random pattern. Yeah, I'm not going to worry too much about. No, I don't like too much of the what I call the accent block, in this case cobbled deep slate with deep slate. But to start to give this path like texture. And in a later episode, we're going to look at a few examples of different block palettes that I personally think go together really nicely. But it's down to your personal preference. And I don't feel like this is the only way. I've seen many things that would perhaps normally be frowned upon, shall we say, by people. Yes, including, I've seen plenty of diorite paths out there that look spectacular when done correctly. The trick is to experiment. Yeah, I love deep slate. I'm not going to lie. We all know I do. Oh, watched my videos. I build a lot out of deep slate. It's not the only option. There are other options out there. Could do brick, could do cobble. Mix in different textures that way. For our Ludic Extreme Day build, I used a mix of cobblestone and stone bricks to create that weathered path effect. And there you can see we have our completed deep slate path. And you can see we've got the mix of the cobbled deep slate in with the smooth. And you can see how it gives that textured feel. And I think that is absolutely great for a basic path in a city. It looks like it's been worn in places. And I think that works. I think personally it works really well. So now we've worked out how we're going to lay out our paths and we've got a basic block palette. The next thing to talk about, whether it's 3 wide or 5 wide, is to put things on the side. Yeah, this looks fine, but ooh, deep slate. If we were to get some deep slate walls, deep slate brick, mix a few walls in, a few posts, get some flowers. If we go to flowers, cornflower, just mix it around, just to give your path some life. It doesn't have to be brick walls. Could be that you use a block or two. Could use some ferns. Just something, just to give it a bit of life around your build. It might be you put a light in. Yeah. But you can see now how it starts to bring your path together. And it might be that you choose, I've done this in the past and gone, well, it's okay, but I prefer it on. If we just put that back in there. You want to make it actually part of your path. Say, well, actually, I prefer it to be on the edge of the path. And it's a personal preference, how you choose to accent. But I personally quite like doing this accent, whether it's a brick wall, whether you build a little stone by the side, 3 or 4 stone blocks together with a bit of grass next to it, or a flat flower, a 2 tall flower, a little tree, a lamp post. All things you could do just to make your path come alive. When you go and you walk outside and you go down a path, there's always something by it. It's very rare that you go and there's just a path and it's in an empty place. So this makes it up, it breaks it up, and it might be that you do some little decorations. It might be that if you've got a city, you put a cart in. So you build a little cart structure in the middle here, or you put a well in. Yeah, a little market stand. Just a little one, 4x4 thing just to break it up. And if this is a building, you might have some steps going into your building. Yeah, these all work to give you that 3D effect and to break it up. Now I specifically have chosen here a flat area to build it. But elevation change is important, and we'll cover that in a later video. But for now, that's my basic guide to how I lay and design my basic paths here in Minecraft. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!